So this is a especially hard project because I keep getting distracted with other stuff, and when I come back to these, I kind of like hardly remember what I was doing. um, but it looks like there has been at least what we did in the last video. At least it's kind of, it seems like it's led to like some checkpoints in here. At least 19. And the thing is, I was doing. I wish I had a better way to check the history of the shell in Replit, because to be honest, I was running here stuff, but now it's obviously gone. I just put the laptop aside and I forgot, like, can I get a history of previous shell runs in Replit? Maybe I should just make that history, as in like keep the comments. Okay. Oh, yeah, I can't see numbered list of recent commands. Okay, history to repeat the last command. Really? What is that? What? Yeah, okay, history. Yeah, that's bullshit. I won like a previous instance of, but it's probably just, yeah, that session is probably gone. I don't know how it's that managed. Anyway, it looks like, because what I did is last time I did run a so what do we have? We have basically the model playground, and I believe I did run a tiny run. So I model playground, and it, at least if I go with tiny, it does this, but I don't know how many epochs and whatnot. Anyway, so I did it at so last day I ran a tiny run using the model playground, and it seems generated a few checkpoints in the checkpoints folder. How can I loss over time? I mean, we had one script to do that, but I don't know if it actually cleaned it up. You know what I mean? I don't know if it just cleaned it up and deleted it or archived it. I used to have one script that would basically plot these. That's how I got that. But let's see, because these are run examples, init tests, data. Okay, the transformer stuff, model playground. What does it do? This just custom. Okay, just does the training. That's it, right? So initialize the model. Doesn't do anything else. Like it just trains the model. Initialize model. Create data loaders. Training. Plot and save training progress. Train step. Custom trainer. Did it actually build that all from scratch? Calculate loss, cross entropy. Training Python. Custom trainer, calculate loss, activations, transformer blocks, out position encoding, process to transformer blocks. initialize gradients, scale gradient for final transformer block, so back propagation. It's definitely is doing something. Going from feed forward to first layer. I mean, it actually has. It actually literally just rebuilt it, right? And training. If I go to training, this is what's setting the checkpoint. Train step. So that's not exactly okay. So this is basically backward pass. Okay, so it's actually has kind of rebuilt it in another. I thought it would just use that, but it's fine. I guess this is messy because the training thing does this, but then these this model playground kind of has then it's the custom trainer stuff, yeah, and this custom trainer seems to be pulling from that old trainer thing. Transformer training, yeah, trainer. Quiet trainer minimizes console output. Okay. I want to see where. Can you create me the plot? I want to see the plot. I want to see the plot. I want to see the plot. So, yeah, cool. Why not? Rollback, changes. What's wrong with you, Replit? I don't trust you. I don't really trust these yet too much. Plot save, training plus not okay. I mean, okay, no, it does. Epoch strain 19 improvement 35.8%. it does have a little bit of a slope. But then final loss. Okay, so I think I need to spend more time fixing these. Okay, so there seems to be a bit of I think there is still a bit of an overlap. You know what? You know what I'm thinking? Why don't we just build? I think I'm just gonna trash this. I'm almost at the point where I think I'm gonna trash these, and I'm gonna start with a clean slate. With a very, very, very basic neural network. Something like, yeah, just a very basic neural network, just like a next step prediction just with a neural network. What about these? And then maybe mimic and build our way up to like changing the architecture and kind of like, you know, yeah, exactly, how to play with this stuff. I think I'm gonna do these. I think I'm gonna do these. Let me see if I can just, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Let me just like, can I start a new application? Cancel now. I want to start a new application. So it's done these. I'm not gonna trash these so far yet, but I wanna do something where it's like a more from scratch approach. So create. So I want to create a I basically want to create a workspace. I want to create a very simple and small neural network. Next Carter. So I want to create a very simple, small next Carter prediction neural network. The simplest architecture possible, just a neural network. And I want a bunch of tools around these for me to experiment and build up more complex architectures later on. Concretely, I want to test current forward backward prop code using essentially using a comparison between numerical and yeah, basically comparison against the numerical gradients. Test various sizes, parameter sizes, configs, and then test various initialization techniques. techniques. So I want to create so small character prediction now or simple signature possible with with just an now. I think because I'm so bad at writing this stuff. Maybe hey, I want to do these. Can you write an initial prompt I can drop to the Replit agent? Uses plot 4, I think, in the background. See if I can actually come up with a better prompt. Exactly. And then I think it's going to be easier because I think I just basically messed up. I want to make sure. These tools allow me to also visualize loss and performance of a train run. Compare train runs. And then maybe also I wanted to not just these, but I wanted to also store progress of runs as checkpoints. Restart training runs based on previously stored checkpoints. That's maybe 6 minutes on our size. Maybe it's a little too. I don't want to necessarily force it to tell me these. Include comments and no, that's fine. Let's try with these prompts. So modern web app, no. Do not build a web interface for these. Only build Python scripts and shell tools. Let's see what it does. Okay, let's see what it does. So again, it's just a bit of a reset. Sometimes you just have to do this, man. I don't know. Sometimes you just have to do these. I'll be back in a second, okay? I mean, I'm here, I'm just checking something else. I'm muting myself. Cool, neural prototype. Okay, so we have different activation functions as well, different optimizers, regularization techniques, create automated hybrid. No, none of these. Just the basic stuff. Just the basic. I want to build those stuff like myself on top of that. I want to build the stuff myself on top of that. And the thing is, I'm struggling in one dimension here, which is how do we turn that into, like, how do I turn these, how do I learn? Like, how do I seriously learn? Because I want to use the LLM, I want to use Replit to learn faster, but also effectively, and as effectively as possible. This means also from a perspective of, I don't want to waste time trying to build something from scratch, because then you're like from pure scratch, no LLM, just read some tutorials and whatever and just build it from scratch, because I have the feeling that yes, that works, but there's going to be a better way now with AI. There's going to be a better way now with AI, which is that level of first principle stuff. Baby crying. Give me a second. Don't cry, baby. I think I have to do a bit of handover. Give me a second, guys. Okay. Okay, so this is gonna still take a few minutes, but yeah, let's think about these. How to learn with it, like how can I optimize my learning with an LLM? That's the problem, is that it's gonna tell me that what I have to do is set clear learning goals, use active engagement techniques, leverage interactive learning, simulate tutoring, request practice problems, use the Socratic method as the LLM to question you back to encourage critical thinking, ask me questions to test my understanding of machine learning basics. While this works in some contexts, that is just using the AI for the same reason we are using human tutors, right? So obviously, that is basically saying, you know, the AI doesn't get tired, whatever, it's not pieced, and it can kind of be used. It can be used to do whatever humans can already do, but then, like, you know, in a more reliable way because of all that what I mentioned. But that doesn't change how you learn. That doesn't really change. That will, if you had like a human that was as tireless as the AI, you'd reach the same. You know what I mean? Like, the point is, it does not really. It's not a leap in the learning itself, right? I'm looking for ways of learning that kind of go beyond these. I'm looking for something where it's like you literally explore the learning landscape differently, or you explore the knowledge differently using these tools, right? Like, you want to build that layer of like first principle thinking, so that then you can kind of build whatever you can do whatever you want with these later. I don't know, man. It's complicated. Because I have the feeling that all these, and I've been saying this in the past days, I have the feeling that all these AI tailors the content, the learning content for you, as a bit of a placebo effect. Like all the YouTube videos was like, oh yeah, you know, look at the amazing videos from 3 Blue 1 Brown, which are awesome videos. And I, of course, I believe they do lead to learning at some point, but not just like the video itself is not what leads to the learning. It's an extra tool, and then you still have to, you know, the point is, it's just too easy to feel like you're learning something when you listen to one of these videos or watch one of these videos, but it's just, you're lacking. There's something missing there. There's something that just, I'm like in a mental state where I'm just unhappy. I'm unhappy with how we learn stuff. I'm unhappy with these. An interactive prototype. I'm unhappy with these. Unhappy with these, because that's not framework for next character prediction with comprehensive testing position and checkpoint management tools. Let's see what it builds actually. This might be too tailored to like web apps and stuff like that. So maybe that was the wrong way to approach it. Maybe I should basically approach it just with the assistant first. But you know what I mean? That's problematic. That is problematic. Because I want to yeah, but essentially what is learning, right? I mean, it's you learn, you're not like, that's the problem is we're stuck on these like learn stuff so that then you can say you've learned stuff, so that then you can go and do things. But then the the reality is that no matter how much learning you do, when you're kind of do something for the first time, you're still kind of like, you still are kind of like not ripe enough. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just having a hard time. I'm just having a very hard time about these. And it's maybe the lack of sleep. Apply knowledge as summaries, maximize LLM features, use think mode if available, combine with external resources, maintain a learning routine. So here's an example workflow. Day 1, ask, explain Python functions with examples for beginners. Day 2, give me 3 practice problems on functions with solutions. Create a small project idea using functions and guide me through it. Review with summarize key points about Python functions and quiz me. Connect to a new topic, how do functions relate to object-oriented programming in Python. Using my capabilities and provide detailed explanations, examples, practice problems on any topic. Yeah. I mean, this is good, right? So this is good for. This is good. I don't know what's happening to me. I'm kind of like, I'm struggling with something and I don't know what it is. In a way, I have the feeling that it's still pretty much like you're learning by the book, even though the book is an LLM. And I think I'm more like just convinced that there's another way of learning, the reinventing the wheel type of learning, where you have a problem and you find a way to solve it, but it's not an obvious problem. Pretty much what I'm trying to do with these, whereas like I have a problem, which is I don't know how I would build an LLM and while making sure that what I'm building makes sense, that it's not like, that is sort of bug free, that is well built. That is my problem, right? And I just don't know, and I don't want to look up at the solutions. It's not like I'm not trying to learn how to build an LLM. What I'm trying to learn is how do I build an LLM in a way that I can trust what I'm building, because as I said, in classical programming 1.0, you build the stuff, and the way you get confident about the fact that you're building the right thing is by testing it. But it's easy, right? You build the stuff, you test it. Now here, the problem is you're building something that's a little more mathematical, it's a little more abstract, right? And so if you're just like looking at the loss might be going down, but it might not be doing what it's supposed to be doing, right? Might be a bug, might be not. It might just be the limits of the architecture you've decided. So I think that's what I'm trying to kind of learn, is like, how do I build that LLM? How do I build an LLM or a model in a way that I have the necessary scaffolding around to be confident of what I'm building? So far we have basically, obviously the gradient testing stuff is a good idea. The gradient testing stuff is a good idea. And then whatever, that's what I'm trying to do with these, right? So but this is kind of like a, yeah, it's a reinventing the wheel type of learning. It's hard. This is very hard because you're essentially, it's very intensive, and you're essentially done on purpose. You're not looking at reference material, right? Directly, as in like, I'm not Googling, how can I check these, right? I'm trying to come up with the unknown unknowns. That's the hard stuff. Is like, how do you learn the unknown unknowns? Because the known unknowns are basically the things where it's like, go through the index of the materials and then just learn that stuff and practice it, and that's it. The unknown unknowns is where the biggest uncertainty is, right? So that's pure uncertainty, as in like, you just don't know what you don't know. Anyway, I've ranted about this too much, and this is still building. Hopefully the next video will be a little more useful.